Say hello to the cat. Her name's Ken. She loves you all. If you're looking for a comprehensive history of Seether, you came to the wrong place here. This is actually a list of my favorite Seether albums in order. Now, your second question is, who the fuck is Seether? Well, why did you click on the video is what I'm asking. Seether is a post-grunge band from South Africa who came into the likes of like Creed and Cold and Stained and stuff like that. And they're probably one of the ones to do it better. Which is the great thing about this video, because it's going to be completely opinionated, and I hope you stick around for that. Here's all the Seether albums, all of them, covering my face, and we're going to rank them from probably their best to their worst performances, in my opinion, once again, because it's an opinion-filled video. And to start off this list, we're going to be talking about their 2011 release, which is Holding On to Strings, Better Left to Fray. I'm going to put it right here somewhere. It is a good, solid album. Is it a great Seether album? Kinda. I feel like it's lacking a lot of the chutzpah that the previous albums before it had. And the thing about this album is there was a lot of studio intervention from it. The certain solos, certain like tambourines and shit that Sean and the band didn't want to add, but they added anyway because pretty much they're under the studio's will. They're under the studio's will, and it doesn't matter at the end of the day. So it really sucked for them, I would have to say. But regardless, Holding On to Strings, Better Left to Fray, the album artwork is pretty cool. But we're talking about the material inside. We're talking about the music. And it's lacking. It's lacking a lot of things. It is unfortunately very overproduced, I would have to say. It's missing that grunge like punch. And it it happens. It happens. Sometimes studio intervention's for the best. Sometimes, in this case, it's really for the worst. It doesn't show Seether at their best. And Sean Morgan's vocal delivery is still great as always, I'd have to say. But there's a lot of interventions, including backing vocals that Sean didn't do, or any of the band didn't do, that you'll hear throughout the record. That's not any of them. It's the producer. I forget his name. I'd have to look it up, but it's a mess. This album's literally held up by Sean Morgan's vocal delivery. And his guitar work is nothing exceptional, I would have to say. It's better than I can play personally. But songs like Fur Q, Country Song, Master of Disaster, Fade Out, Roses, and then bonus tracks like Effigy are great. And they're phenomenal, I would have to say. Some of the best Seether tracks ever, especially Fur Q, that shows some of their earlier roots, where like screechy and stuff like that. And then they had like a remix CD, which that was big at the time, 2011, remixing stuff into electronic songs. So yeah. And then they had a bonus DVD with acoustic songs. So whatever you think about it, it's an okay album. It's nothing revolutionary, but it's definitely Seether's worst. In 2024, Seether released their most recent record, The Surface Seems So Far, and that is their 9th record to date. According to Sean, it is the band's heaviest and most intense album. Highly disagree. But it doesn't feature any acoustic songs, which is cool, but it is filled with fillers. It's not exactly a bad album by any means. It's definitely more Seether-esque than Holding On to Strings, Better Left to Fray. But Judas Mine, Walls Come Down, and Lost All Control are probably the best on here. The rest are fillers. And that's disappointing to say as a huge Seether guy. So it's very lacking, and it's not. It shows their age, that you can only talk about your issues and problems for so many albums without getting a sense of burnout, I would say. There's really not much to say about this album. It's kind of a nothing burger. I don't know why I put it above Holding on to Strings, but I did because it's more genuine to the Seether sound than Holding on to Strings. It's a nothing burger album, and it's really sad to say as a Seether fan, in my opinion. Still love them, except for the fact that they're touring with Stained right now, and I have a lot of opinions about Stained, so you know, I don't know why I didn't think about it, but Seether Beanie, that makes sense. Speaking of filler albums, if you want peace, prepare for war, also known as Civis Paca Parabellum, if I'm saying that right. 2020 release. I think it was the second record Seether released off of the label, which is great. It's their 8th studio album. But once again, it is a very lacking album. The best songs on it, I would have to say, are Dead and Done, Wasteland, Liar, Can't Go Wrong, Failure, and Beg, and Pride Before the Fall, which is a lot compared to the 13 songs they originally released on it. But when you have so many filler songs, it's kind of hard to compromise for that. So Dead and Done is, once again, probably my favorite song on here next to Pride Before the Fall. Pride Before the Fall mostly because the bridge is so fucking angry. But Dead and Done just feels like a copy-paste of their previous record's opener, Stoke the Fire, which we'll talk about later. It's from this little guy right here. It's not necessarily a terrible record. A lot of filler, some nothing burger songs, but the songs that do perform very well, and that is probably why it's one of the better ones out there compared to the rest of their discography. Mild tangent, my previous bassist hooked me up with this record, and I have it somewhere, but it's the censored Walmart version. I don't know where it went, but when the first track starts off, I'm fucking dead, I'm fucking done, it kind of sucks when that gets censored. Released only in South Africa, limited numbers, under their first name, Sarin Gas. It would have to be the album Fragile. The reason why I'm adding Fragile to this list, even though it's under a different pseudonym name, it's still Seether. You have 69T, Pride, Fine Again, Take Me Away, Driven Under, Your Bore, Pig. Those are all songs that were released on the record that they got to when they fucking signed to Wind Up Records. So, and then you have songs like Beer, Empty, Tied My Hands, Dazed and Abused, which are great songs as well. Empty is probably the biggest outlier here. It is a song that should have been released on like their later records. It is the beginning of something great when it came to their material that they wrote. There's a lot of like little nuanced differences. Like Pig starts off very differently than it does on Disclaimer, and Pride does as well. There's a lot of little like changes they did into the songs structures, and I like them more later on, but I have to give this record its due diligence and talk about the fact that it was the beginning of a great thing. They were on a streak when it came to this one. There's some demos out there, probably one you're going to be hearing behind me audio wise. It's good. It's the beginning of the better albums that we're going to be talking about shortly. So finding beauty in negative spaces. I love what this record stands for, and who it was dedicated to, because I have a very strong relationship with my siblings, so I couldn't imagine losing one of them, especially to something so awful. Rise Above This was I think one of their first singles they released off this record, and it stands as one of their better songs, one of their better ballads, I'd have to say. Something they tried capturing with Holding On to Strings is Better Left to Fray, and really failed at. I need to start mentioning when these records were released. I think I forgot with the last one, but in 2007, this record was released. This record specifically doesn't really have a bad song. Six Gun Quota is probably the weakest, but everything else is fairly well done. Like Suicide is an amazing opener, and it was almost, I think, taken off the record but they kept promoting the fact that it was going to be released. So they had to open up with this song because their record label was being a pain in the asshole. Kudos to them. Fake It. You haven't heard it. You probably have. So great single, great song. Breakdown, once again, another great song. Fallen, No Jesus Christ, probably their longest song to date. Eyes of the Devil, also a very good song. And Waste. And not to mention the fact that they had a George Michael cover of Careless Whisper released around Valentine's Day as a bonus track in 2009 when they re-released the record. And it is very Seether-esque, and I love it. The strings version's okay, but the one we all know is with the nice little guitar solo, that copies the saxophone. This isn't a Nothing Burger record. It has great songs. They're all pretty solid. Not the best, but all very, very solid songs. Sean really gets into his angst in it, especially talking about drugs, like he does in Like Suicide, and fakeness like in Fake It. So and betrayal. So that is a common theme among Seether, talking about those things. Finding Beauty in Negative Spaces. Very, very solid album. And now we're getting into even better territory, so I'm excited to talk about those ones as well. 2014, Isolate and Medicate. This album has some Nothing Burger songs, I'd have to say, like Keep the Dogs at Bay and Goodbye Tonight's okay, Turnaround's mediocre. But I don't necessarily rank the albums on the fact that they have bad or mediocre Nothing Burger songs. I rank them more on the fact on, are the good songs really fucking good? See You at the Bottom, Words as Weapons, My Disaster, Suffer It All, Watch Me Drown, Burn the World are all phenomenally well done songs. Once again, Seether is great with opener songs. Despite being their 6th studio album, it's still hits right in the gonads when it comes to right in the beginning of the album. I can't express to you how many times I've listened to See You at the Bottom as a Seether fan. And Save Today is probably one of my favorite closer songs they've ever had on an album. Honestly, very good cry material. And I recommend you go listen to this album anytime you think things can't get worse, because this one will show you they can. It was at also a very prime time in Sean Morgan's history. I think he pretty much tried to kill himself on this tour, and it really shows with some of these songs. They're heart-wrenching. So, yeah. We'll see you at the bottom with the rest of these albums. I have my mic closer to my face because I have family home and they make a lot of noise, so I'm trying to capture this. Let me get inside your head with the next one. Disclaimer 1. I would have to put this next to Disclaimer 2, but I'm putting Disclaimer 2 technically below Disclaimer 1 because Disclaimer 1 is the better of the two. Like, you have songs like Got It Made, Cigarettes, and Sold Me from the second release of it, the re-release, but the production of their first record, Disclaimer, is the better of the two. You have the beginning of Pig, Pride, and even Needles. The certain production value on it is much better. There is one big Nothing Burger song that I actually hate. It's called Fade Away. I hate the song. It's not good at all. Every other song on this record is a banger. Absolute banger. Their opening track, Gasoline, is probably one of their weaker opening tracks when it comes to any of their albums. But 69T, Fine Again, everyone's heard that one. Needles, Driven Under, Pride, Sympathetic, Your Bore, Pig, Fuck It, Broken, the original version, especially Broken with Amy Lee, who he was dating at the time. Very, very good rendition of Broken. The main ones I would have to say are Needles, Pride, Fine Again, and Pig. Specifically, like I said, the Disclaimer 1 version of Pig that has the dun-dun-dun at the beginning. It's just, it builds up the song so much better in my opinion. And this, the last chorus is so much heavier than it is on Disclaimer 2. On streaming platforms, they have Disclaimer 1, Disclaimer 2. It's the same album. They didn't bother re-releasing the first version of Disclaimer, which really sucks. So you have to like hunt that one down on YouTube and stuff like that. Recommend it. It is just very well done. If you have an original Disclaimer CD, I recommend going to go listen to it. One of the 10 album covers that they released during it. Because it's a weird promotion. Go listen to the differences between those two records. Come back to me and talk to me about it, because I'd be very interested to see what you'd prefer over Disclaimer 1 and Disclaimer 2. Disclaimer 1 is obviously the more superior one. Disclaimer 2 is right below it, mostly because of its mixing. I prefer the mix on Disclaimer 1. In 2017, Seether released their second best record, I would have to say, and that is Poison the Parish. It was their first record officially off the label of Flip, or whatever the hell it was, and it shows they were being literally contained, because this album is borderline lightning in a bottle, in my opinion. Especially so late into their career, you think that by their seventh studio album they would be lacking, and they really didn't lack at all with this album. Something Else is probably the only song I would have to say is well, next to Sell My Soul and Feels Like Dying, those three songs are okay. The rest of the record is just banger after banger. I would have to recommend you listen to Against the Wall, Count Me Out, Emotionless, and Take a Minute. And then if you like those songs, just listen to the whole record. It's only like 60 minutes of good post-grunginess. Sean's vocal delivery and lyrics really show the aggression behind he was feeling being trapped to a record label. I feel like it's almost like their goodbye to the machine, so to speak, of Heart, or of Seether Records. That's another band we'll be talking about at some point with ranking their records. Solid, I would have to say 8.5 out of 10 record. It's, like I said, it's very intriguing that a band so late into their career released such a intense and refreshing record. It was everything they wanted these last two records they made to be. If they ended off their career on this record, Poison the Parish, they would probably be better off. But we have some okay albums after that, so it's, you know, not all bad. And great songs, so it's not all bad. Now there's only one record left to talk about, and you know what it is, I know what it is, especially if you're a Seether fan, so here you go. In 2006, Seether released their best record, Karma and Effect. There is not a single song that misses on here. Every track through and through. It's the only album that I would recommend you listen to all the way through. Once again, starting off with a banger track, Because of Me. It is a hit in your face. Probably better than Gasoline, I would have to say. But this is like the beginning of their starting off with really strong first tracks. And you've all heard Remedy, phenomenal single. But then they have some B-sides, as I like to call them, or some hidden gems like Burrito, Tongue, Simplest Mistake, and Disease. Very good lyrically as well, talking about relationship problems, anger, rage, and sadness, and the will to almost not want to go on, especially in songs like Tongue. It is a phenomenal record through and through. Probably one of the best post-grunge records, I would have to say, to date. And the best Seether record, I'd have to say. There's no real misses on here. I don't really have much to say because you should just go listen to this record. There's also some unmastered versions of this record, which I prefer. They have a whole intro that they never used for the beginning of Karma and Effect. That sounds really cool. I wish they used. But that's the only, like, quote-unquote misses I would say about the record, is that it was probably due to studio involvement. They were like, we don't want to add this noise introduction to this record. It's like, why not? It sounds great. Anyways, all of you take care of yourselves. Keep listening to music. Go fuck off and listen to this record. Peace.